The only rant that I want to give out is like we always seek motivation and we always got to find something like even on like, hey, you got to have a goal, you got to have a competition. Well, sometimes competitions aren't in sight. Sometimes you're injured. Sometimes you're not hitting PRs. Like what's going to take you to even further is like discipline. Like you
Yeah.
got to literally like in your mind kind of like go into that David Goggins or Jocko or anybody who is like almost insane, but in a good way,
Yeah.
is that you just gotta have that drive when stuff stops getting fun.
All right, guys, welcome to another Creature Feature. I'm your host, Paul Caldwell here, joined with Cory O'Connor. Cory, go ahead, let the people know what's up. How's it going?
Pretty good. Just chilling on a chilly day in Indy, but we're happy to be here.
Yeah, we're coming out to you. Creature Feature has moved once again, as you can see, new location. Just shooting out here in Indianapolis. It's a little bit of a cold gray day, but we thought we'd use our nice little backdrop. So, Cory, how does one encapsulate Cory O'Connor? Say, I think most people, when they think of you, I've known you for a few years now. I've been thankful too. But let's say, when I think about the two major things that are going on in your life from my outside looking in perspective, I think of one, obviously you being a prolific Olympic weightlifter, and also balancing that with a military career. So how do you make that all fit in your day?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Paul, for calling me prolific weightlifter. I think I'm a slightly above, but I appreciate that.
There's circles within circles within circles within circles of weightlifting. I think you're closer to the middle than you're on the outside.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Just I think like in general, just like being yourself and just having fun with it. And I think other people could see it. Like you may not be the best weightlifter or whatever that is, but if you have personality and you get along with people such as yourself, like you're gonna be known in that small community. But to answer your question, kind of like balancing both. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of happened hand in hand. I was studying exercise science as undergrad, then followed up with my master's in exercise physiology.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of found weightlifting through there. And
Yeah.
so I started weightlifting first, but I've always been in the military simultaneously while studying for school.
Yeah.
And then my military career kind of progressed after COVID because the fitness industry was really hard to, find.
Oversaturated, I would
Yeah.
say, is the word I think of when I think of the fitness industry. But
Well, if you could look back at COVID times where garage gyms and the gym closes, there's not a lot of opportunity. And I had graduated fall of 2019, like right before the lockdown.
yeah, right then.
So it just kind of so happened where I leaned on the military side, been doing that more full time, and then just kind of balancing the both. But I make it work. It's just basically figuring out like where your sacrifices are,
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, like, are there any similarities you think that kind of, I think a lot of people would think of those things being like, kind of like very opposed in how they work or whatever and fit in your life. But are there any like similarities across those two parts of your life that you integrate and like make it easier, or ways that you just kind of view it across the board the same way?
Yeah, I think it's I'm very fortunate to like enjoy my job in the military. It's very fun, it's very technical. So I take that technical aspect of my job and also apply it to weightlifting, but also like making it fun and just giving the best out of it. You could do both things and just be average, but if you want to take it to the next level, obviously there's some things that you got to sacrifice and kind of just like lock in, so to say.
Also, like, I don't know, like, more specifically, you want to get more into like specifically what you do in the military?
Yeah, I can
Let
do
the
that.
people know, because like I think that we know you're in the Air Force, but I think you have a very specific role that like is very interesting. So just want to tell the people like what it is you really do.
Yeah, for sure. So for those who don't know, I'm a boom operator in the Air Force. So a boom operator is an in-flight refueling specialist. So the plane that we fly in is the KC-135 Stratotanker. That is a refueler that's been built in the 50s and early 60s, and we've been flying it ever since. But pretty much, if you could picture it in your mind, that in the back of a plane, and the plane's about the size of a commercial Boeing 707, which is slightly smaller than like your Southwest 737. Not to get too technical, but
Yeah.
think of it like a commercial plane gutted out to military style, and it has a boom, which is like a giant stinger in the back of the plane, and there's a window back there. I lay flat down prone, and I have the controls there, and that's how I refuel other planes that are coming up, whether it's a heavy aircraft like a Air Force One, or like a bomber like a B-2, or even a small guy like a fighter. Anything that we could put the pole into,
Yeah.
we just put the pole in the hole.
Yeah. Put the pole in the hole. it's a good tagline. So obviously the two things that you do between Olympic weightlifting and being a boom operator like requires a lot of focus, I'd say, especially in high intensity moments, because it comes down to like probably key moments to make it happen. So like what do you do like in your life? Like what helps you stay focused in those high intensity moments where like it requires the utmost of your attention to complete what the task at hand?
It's very different and same at the same time. So like flying aspect, in order to be focused, you gotta multitask. So like we are controlling that airspace of we're controlling the plane that comes up that we refuel them. We're in communication with that a receiver pilot. We are talking to our pilots because they have to adjust
Mm-hmm.
between the speeds and whatnot. And also I'm sitting here trying to focus on making that contact.
Yeah.
So how I stay focused there is just being calm under pressure, which then can relate to weightlifting as well. In a meet setting, there's a lot of things going on. It's very chaotic, but it's almost very simple. You have one job, just make the lift.
Yeah.
So if I can just focus on that, that just kind of helps me tune everything out and just stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of caffeine too.
Yeah. And then like for both things, so just caffeinate up.
Yeah, definitely. You have
Yeah.
your rituals. Like whenever we fly, we always have our like ritual snacks that we'll have or whatever the case is. And same thing for like meet day too, I'm sure, or even training for you.
Yeah. No, yeah, caffeine has played a major role in my life as well. And both, like I said, with work and obviously with weightlifting, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for caffeine. Thank you, caffeine, not a sponsor, but yeah. So I want to change gears a little bit, like talk a little bit more in depth about like the weightlifting side of your life. So like, let's say, so you were getting into weightlifting, especially back when you're studying, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was your, I guess, to be more specific, is like, what was the trajectory that led you to weightlifting, and why did you choose weightlifting over maybe other disciplines? Because I know that you've had backgrounds in others as well, but you settled on weightlifting and have stayed with it for, I would say, the longest that I understand, and from your perspective. So what was your journey through like sport and like other types of training, and then ended you up with weightlifting?
Sure, yeah, that was a lot of questions in one, but
Sorry, yeah. You want to parse through that? I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, you're good. So I'll start with how do you define weightlifting and why do I stick with Olympic style weightlifting versus others?
Yeah.
So again, we kind of talked about a little bit of my background. So after my undergrad, I worked as a strength conditioning coach in the private sector back in Illinois. And we followed this program where they incorporated Olympic lifts, such as just the hang clean, right? It was
Yeah.
just one.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what the hell it was
Yeah.
and how to do it. So how was I going to be a coach and try to coach my other athletes who look up to me how to do like that movement? So I kind of decided to learn by myself how to learn it. So I would practice every day after work or in between sessions that I was coaching in.
Mm-hmm.
I was very thankful that one of my coaches there I worked with, he had one of those like old school like Catalyst Athletics like squat program that he gave to me.
Catalyst. Hell.
So the beginning of my like weightlifting journey, quote unquote, was me just trying to figure it out, filming myself, and like sending videos to my friends, such as Matt too. Like he was one of the guys that I looked up to because he had already did CrossFit before and also did weightlifting. And I'm like, hey, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
So that led into me doing Olympic weightlifting. And then as far as like why do I stick with that versus other styles of lifting, like I always did just like your normal push pull splits, your bodybuilding type stuff. I think everyone starts off with that. And then I did powerlifting because I want to be strong, so like your big three: squat, bench, deadlift. Didn't actually like go into the sport of powerlifting, but just the big three. And then but once I found weightlifting, it was such a weird like thing where not only that you kind of have to be like very athletic, but also strong too. So like I kind of compare it to skating.
Mm-hmm.
So like if someone like lands a trick and like, how do you do that? I'm sure you had that feeling where you made a snatch and it was like, oh, like how did I make this snatch? But like the timing and everything was perfect.
Yep.
Once like you get that feeling of like dropping under the bar perfect or catching something perfectly, it's like you don't want to like do anything else. Like I fell in love with it, realized that it's a sport, and I feel like anybody in the fitness industry, if you're trying to, not in the fitness, anyone in fitness wants to pursue something, you got to have a goal, whatever that may be. So a lot of people do races, a lot of people do, marathons, whatever the case be, but having weightlifting as a competition and your training is the direct reflection of the work that you put in. I think that's like what keeps me motivated, because I'll be completely honest. I feel like if I didn't compete, I probably wouldn't lift as serious, or I probably really enjoy just exercising in general.
Yeah. No, that is like an interesting thing, and it's honestly it's something that people used to tell me before I did the competition, because I used to be the guy that was training weightlifting, but didn't do a comp for like over a year into it, and everybody's like, when are you gonna, like, you were really one of those people, like, when are you finally gonna just get on like a platform and like compete? And because everybody's like, once you compete, like it changes everything. You have a competition to look forward to and train towards, and another thing is like when you actually just get done with the comp, like the drive that you feel after the comp's over to like get back in the gym and make it happen and like produce a better result is crazy. But it just like expedites, and like I don't know, it just, there's nothing like competing to really force you to want to like look forward to and train towards something in that way. So I completely agree with you in that way. So obviously, how like the thing about Olympic weightlifting is like it's not one of those things that you're gonna do it for a couple weeks and like, heck yeah, like feels great. So how did you face the struggles that that the patience required to like fail over and over and over again in weightlifting and keep doing it, like to persevere through like how difficult it can be?
That's a really good question, because I feel like only certain people, like-minded people, could really relate to it, and like you just gotta want it
Yep.
that hard. Like you have to be obsessed. Like if you don't like put in the work, you're just not gonna get anything out of it. But also like I'm going a little rant, but it's
Go
like
go ahead. Go.
the only rant I'm gonna
Go.
the only rant that I want to give out is like we always seek motivation, and we always got to find something, like even on like, hey, you got to have a goal, you got to have a competition. Well, sometimes competitions aren't in sight, sometimes you're injured, sometimes you're not hitting PRs. Like what's going to take you to even further is like discipline. Like
Yeah.
you got to literally like in your mind kind of like go into that David Goggins or Jocko or anybody who is like almost insane but in a good way,
Yeah.
is that you just gotta have that drive when stuff stops getting fun,
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of maybe bodybuilders can relate to that, because I think bodybuilding would probably be the hardest thing to do. I don't know, like their training is so hard, but it's just one of those things where you gotta be obsessed and you gotta have that discipline to show up every day and to do it right and to be just like it's just gonna be there, because motivation is gonna come and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think while it being a complicated question, I think you definitely answered it well, because it is one of those things that like you could say it a million different ways, but if like you don't get it and you don't buy in, then you're never really going to understand it. And that's probably the most complicated thing. And like because motivation is fleeting, right? Always. But what's left is how much discipline you have to make it happen. And if you have enough discipline, you're going to. If you don't, then really the motivation just burns off very quickly.
And like people who are frustrated within like the first like 3 years, or you're not seeing progress, you always got to reel back and just think of like the basic things that you can control,
Yeah.
right? What can you control? Your sleep, how much like water you're taking in,
Yeah.
how's your diet looking, like how's your pre and post like stuff, like everything could, if you can't answer that in those basic like 5 things, I'm sure you could, and you know that, oh shit, I didn't get enough sleep today. So just knock off all those before you dive deeper into like, oh, I need to do the recovery, like cold plunge. I need to do sauna,
Yeah.
do that stuff. And I think Steve does a very good job of just talking about like putting in the work and just showing up instead
Yeah.
of talking about it
Yeah.
and handling these basic core things.
Yeah.
So I definitely look up to him in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, because like I can't remember who we had on for the pod at one point, and we went over that. It's just like what you're putting the cart before the horse. If you're worried about, yeah, like the cold plunges and how long you're sauning, if you're like you're just not like sleeping, eating, and like being healthy in that way, like you're focused on the wrong things. I think it might have been Trevor Kim. Like I said, we talked about like some of that stuff. It's just like there are things that are way more important in the grand scheme of things, and to sweat the small minor details, but like miss out on the complete major ones, is setting yourself up for failure out the gate. Like why dedicate time and energy to something that matters very little when you're not looking at the things that do, maybe because it's hard to, you know what I mean? So, and that kind of like leads more or less into my next question I was going to ask you is like, how do you think that not only for you, but in general, lifting it teaches humility and control?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
How do you think lifting teaches humility and control for people?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, like the bar is never gonna lie to you. Everyone always says like 20 kilos on the bar is a barbell is always gonna be 20 kilos no matter what.
Yeah.
So there's days that you're just not gonna feel as powerful. Like I'm sure you come in and we have like a session where you have to do like a heavy power, but you just don't feel that umped in it today.
Yeah.
That kind of just teaches you like, man, I'm not a superhero all the time, or there's days that you do feel good and it just feels off.
Yeah.
Like technically it's not even a strength thing. It's just like, man, this just wasn't clicking. I couldn't make a good snatch. So I think just having those good and bad days will teach you how to be like humble and kind of respect the weights. And there's a saying that I always like to say is you're renting the weights. So up until there's renting and owning.
Yeah.
So say your best snatch is 120, right? You're still renting that like 90%, like up to 110, 115. And until that you could hit it on a day that you're tired, it's kind of like an everyday weight or a daily minimum, then that's when you own that weight.
Yeah.
So there's a fine balance between like renting and owning is how I like to put it.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's like that weight does not belong to you until, like I said, you can just do it on a whim, more or less. So when you were getting in the Air Force, and like you said, you decided that you wanted to go down the path that you did, what was the training protocol like that? For like, what was the pipeline that led you to your specific job that you got?
Okay, I'll try to make this short because like it's like a span of like over 8 years of where I got to be. So long story short, it's still gonna be a little long. I needed to pay for college, and my dad suggested I join the Air Force Reserves because it's a way to pay for school. I'm like, sure, I'll do it. So I took any job that was open. And so my first job was called Aircrew Flight Equipment. If I had to explain it, it's basically, you know, those safety cards you're flying commercial, and it shows you like the life raft or the life preservers. Basically, my job would pack, maintain, and inspect that. It's very chill, monotonous, but I didn't see myself doing that as a career.
Yeah.
So once
once
my enlistment was up, I ended up doing like close to 8 years, I think, doing that job just as a reservist, and then working as like going to school full time and being a strength coach. Had an opportunity to switch jobs to become a boom operator, which I do now. So that pipeline led to me as I had to retrain, right? So since I already went to basic training, you have to go through what's called tech school.
Yeah.
So the tech school took about like 5 to 6 months. And basically you learn like a general aviation course of like how to be an aviator, right? You learn stuff about flying and just planes and stuff like that, right? And then you go into your specific jobs. And that was split in between like halfway of learning through simulators. Like I'm sure people know what plane simulators, where there's a boom simulator where it's like the exact setup in there in a little box. It doesn't move like an actual like pilot sim, but it's pretty accurate enough to know our job, to do the refueling. So once you finish up on the simulators, Then you go on a few flights. It's around like 6 or 7 flights where you fly with an instructor. They let you do everything, including the actual refueling, and they're there to watch.
Okay.
And full circle now, just became an instructor a few months back.
Okay, so
back in
now you're
August.
the one
Yeah.
doing the instructing,
Yeah,
flying out
so
with
now
the rookies.
yep, boom sensei now.
Boom
Yeah.
sensei.
So yeah, that's kind of like the pipeline of my career, I guess. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And is there like just like wrap up with like the military side of things? Would you say that there is something that sticks out to you that you learned with your life in the military that you use as a civilian?
Well, I'll say this, maybe not just military in general, but maybe job specific. I think a lot of people who are flyers or air crew in the Air Force or in general, you kind of have to be like a certain like-minded person. So I've kind of learned more to be like a type A when I used to be kind of like a type B plus. I'm like an A minus now.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah. Somewhere in the middle, but
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah, so like you gotta
Balance.
be punctual. You gotta be like multitask and not be afraid to mess up even.
Yeah.
But also just still show up no matter what. Like if you do mess up, like you gotta learn how to bounce back. Like you can't just like crash out while I'm about to refuel a plane. And just give up.
Yeah.
You have to get it
You
done.
gotta get it done. Yeah.
You gotta get it done.
Nobody's just gonna jump. Like so, you're probably like one of the only boom operators on your flight, if probably the only
We are.
one.
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna like go and be like, hey, Cory's having a bad day. I'm just gonna go. What'd you say earlier about like sticking it?
Yeah, put the pole in the hole.
Put the pole in the hole, yeah.
Little insight. So normal basic crew is just a pilot, co-pilot, and a boom operator. So we handle everything that's like back of the flight deck or the cockpit.
Yeah.
And that includes like cargo, weight and balance, anything that's back there. And we just take care of everything that's back there. So
yeah, they have to make sure they get the right fuel in there. They gotta get that Jet A in there.
Yeah, see, you learned before when we started talking.
It was, the mics. I mean, the cameras weren't rolling, but we were talking about some specifics of these flights before. And Cory was nice enough to teach me a little bit about the fuel that they use and everything.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So So like, and that's gotta be like exhausting because like, how long are you up in the air sometimes?
Like a normal sortie is like 4 hours. Like a training sortie is like 4 hours. But like if we're deployed, it can be up to 8 hours.
Okay.
Or so. Yeah.
So like between that and like training, like obviously that can all be pretty exhausting. So do you have like a go-to like recovery, sleep, injury prevention protocol that you go through? I'm sure it's multiple things all at once or it's steps.
I think first is obviously kind of like managing sleep, but then as I mentioned before, like managing my caffeine. So if I know I'm gonna train that day, if I'm flying, I probably won't have caffeine when I fly.
Yeah.
And then also like the pressurization, the cabin altitude is not like the best in our old planes. So like a 4-hour flight feels like an 8-hour sometimes because you just feel like exhausted.
Yeah,
right.
It just takes it out of you.
But then I have to drive an hour, from base to my house and another half hour to the gym.
Yeah.
And still train. It's just kind of managing stresses. Like I kind of go in knowing if I fly that day and I'm gonna train, that's gonna be a long day. So I'll try to prep it as best I can, not perfect.
Yeah.
And just know that to have patience and build that time in.
Yeah.
But also like if there's been times where I had like, a big Friday.
Yeah.
And I fly that day, and I'm just like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna do it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just flex to Saturday.
Yeah.
So just being flexible too.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing in aviation. Like, there's so many changes when we fly with our flying schedule, meeting up with, the refueling. They call it rendezvous. And you just gotta learn how to be flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn to be flexible. Know what's the hierarchy of necessities. Probably.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes because that's the thing too is I think a lot of people talk about like that the culture of just kind of like how would I put it, like just make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And there's sometimes where it's like, well, there's sometimes that if you're so exhausted, the best thing you need to do is just go home and get some sleep, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, cut your losses sometimes, because I don't know, like that helps out with injury prevention itself. A lot of times when you're exhausted, you don't move in the same movement patterns you would if you were well rested. It's not a good idea to get injured. I say you got to be flexible sometimes too. So I think it's a great point.
I think it just depends on the situation too, because people could either lean forward or fall back depending on what they got going on. Like, say if you have a meet coming up, there's some things you might have to sacrifice in order to get those training sessions in, because all those are so important leading up to your competition. But then also, like, why kill yourself if you're 6 months out from a meet and you really have nothing to like train for immediately when you got time to build?
Yeah, look at the big picture
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's good. But yeah, so I guess my next question for you is, because especially coming from me being a person that's only competed in so many meets, like I look up to people like you that have been in like bigger meets and like compete more often and perform and all that stuff. So like I guess my question to you is like, when it comes to those bigger moments, those bigger lifts, what do you do to just like stay like stay calm and like push through? I like to
I like that
make it
question
happen.
because no one talks about like the mental aspect of the sport or lifting
Yeah, it's
and
always
whatnot.
about like the strength and the power and like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the
yeah.
mental part
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
so unappreciated because it does take a lot. So please talk about it for me.
Yeah, no. I'm a big visualization person, so I'll close my eyes if when I'm chalking up right before I hit a lift, and I either say a prayer, say something that that makes me happy, or literally like I'll visualize myself making that specific weight with the with the noise that tells you to drop the bar down and everything throughout the whole motion. So then when I do hit it, it kind of feels like deja vu, like I've been there before. So I do a lot of the like visualization when I'm up on the platform specifically. Things like in the back room can get kind of chaotic, and it's all about managing stress. Like some people are like good just staying calm. Some people are good like being more into it.
Yeah.
You gotta practice. You gotta see what works for you. Sometimes I don't like sitting down from a long time. It starts to mess with my mental, or me not knowing how far out I need to hit or when I'm gonna go. Sometimes I'll go up there with my coach and I'll look at the board and I'll see like how many bar drops I'm out. People may think that's crazy, but I like to be involved.
Yeah.
Like that's like
In the know,
in
so
the
to
know.
speak.
Yeah, I like to know. So like let me know. And again, practice with music when you're lifting, practice without it. I've learned that sometimes I don't need to be overstimulated on snatches, so I don't really necessarily need the music for snatches, unless I'm not really feeling it,
Yeah.
like not hype. But I feel
Yeah.
like, I'll practice with that aspect of music versus not music, and there's sometimes good, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But and that's a good thing.
Sometimes maybe good,
Sometimes
sometimes maybe shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's-
like not really mental, but it's also like fueling yourself. So sometimes you might need more caffeine, sometimes you need to draw back. I tend to overeat and snack, so I've been cutting down what I've been snacking on because I'll get too fatigued in clean and jerks. So again, just trying to like find that like zen mode, because you're really like mostly saving up energy for clean and jerks, which I can only speak for myself, and I know that it may be different on someone else. Like I don't know, like you see people like smelling salts when they snatch. Maybe maybe I don't need that, but maybe I do. But I think a lot of the mental things is kind of either practicing stuff and actually trying it in training too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like reverting from competition, but like say if I'm leading up for a meet and I got a big Friday or a singlet Saturday, right?
Singles, yeah.
So a lot of coaches talk about like hitting a lift and then waiting a certain amount of minutes. I know Matt's talked about that. I know Will Fleming's talked about that a little bit, and I'll play with timing and kind of practice like you play. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. No, it definitely does, because I mean I don't know. I like talking about the mental aspect of the weightlifting situation, because
no one talks about it.
Yeah, because like for me I struggle with the same thing. And when you're talking about like reaching that good level of stimulation, I am a usually extremely, I would say, especially like how I am in the gym, like over the top, like I'm like a chatty Cathy, like a stem heavy kind of person. I want my caffeine before my workout, but when it comes to meet day, that's completely opposite. I need to be understimulated for the most part. I don't listen to music. I don't take any caffeine, because like having been a person that's like struggled with anxiety most of my life, it makes me anxious to where like it doesn't stick out when I'm training or like in my day-to-day life. But when it comes to the platform, it's time to compete. I was like, I want to completely be unplugged right? And
Mhm.
just have that zen. That's my zen. That's like have I have that mental clarity, like kind of because everything around is chaotic, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like just having that little zen bubble around me
Yeah, yeah,
compared to
yeah.
everything else that's going on. And I don't know if like maybe that's kind of like how you feel
No,
sometimes.
yeah, some people like are like, "How come you're not laughing?" I'm like, I'm chill." But I really wanted to say to people who are competing and like I'm not no Olympian or Team USA person, but I've competed at the national level.
Mm-hmm.
I think soaking it all in, like we pay to have fun, we pay to do these things,
Mm-hmm.
like enjoy it out of it. Like get off your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I'll just think of my family or think about something that makes me feel happy in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just trying to soak it all in.
Yeah.
So I think soaking in the moment is so important on those things because you may not know when you're gonna have your last meet or like your last PR or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I think when I do that, I definitely perform the best is when like, man, I'm just here to have fun. Like, yeah, I'm competitive and I want to do the best that I could do, but
Mm.
I think people lose sight of the big picture that we
Yeah.
literally do this on a free time
Yeah.
for fun.
Free time for fun. Yeah, we have to pay to enter a lot of the competitions that we do. That like the travel expenses. Like you have to like every time we get there, we buy way too much food to put in the same fridge.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that like it is like I know a lot of people at ICB that like when we travel for our meets that like that's the first thing we freaking do is everybody gets like 5 things of milk. Everybody gets all the same food. We don't have enough space in the
And we
fridge.
never eat it.
It would never. It was always too much at the end. These are the little things people don't see. But yeah, we take the time out of the day to make it happen, and that's why like also like I think a lot of people take it way too much to heart when they make mistakes. And that's like about like in the fitness or in life in general, right? We don't have to make it like fitness related or weightlifting related, but like to like have the presence of mind to, like you have to make those mistakes though and like let it go and see the big picture like we're talking about and just be to stay like present, right? In the now, right? How important that is and to be thankful for all the reasons like we're able to do what we do. There's a lot of things that like we kind of lose sight of sometimes when you're just like kind of like chasing the unicorn, trying to chase that higher total and stuff. And when you don't get it, it can be really frustrating because you know all the mistakes you make along the way. But man, like how thankful am I to like have the time and have the community that's supporting me to do these things in the first place. And just thinking about those things, I think helps a lot and recenters us, right? So
Yeah. I think if you're going to be upset with yourself, like actually mean it. Like don't blame things. And if you're too hard, like if you're not happy with something, fix it.
yeah,
Figure out a way,
yeah,
you know? But also like you do have to give yourself some grace because you compare yourself to always the biggest and baddest person, right?
Mhm.
When like there's times when you first started, you never thought you'd be hitting those weights.
You never thought you would have the tool you have now. And the thing is, like, think about wherever you started in your journey, or like think about all the kids like we work with, like in weightlifting and stuff. Like, you know, I don't think of myself as anything other than a filthy casual in weightlifting, but I enjoy it. But like, I coach a lot of girls now,
Mm-hmm.
and like sometimes we'll see the videos or whatever and be like, wow, like, oh my gosh, like how do you make that happen? I'm like, I'm putting up like little totals, but like to them that's a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
like that's some people look up to you that you never even think about from the day to day.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you're gonna do something, like do it with intention, and because you never know who's watching, right? And like set a good example and a good precedent for them, because it's like that's what's more important. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. It's just like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
Some things we just don't think about sometimes when we're doing it. We're just like, yeah, because like you said, you compare yourself to the people you're watching, you know, on YouTube or the people that you're watching there on Instagram. And it's like, the thief is what comparison is the thief of joy.
Thief of joy, yeah. Thief
Yeah.
of all joy. Yeah, I think that a lot of us too, like probably in our age, and we're not too old, but old enough. But we started in this stuff late. We've all had like different sports we played.
Yeah.
Like you were a thrower in college. I was like in a band or something. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah, we were doing
we
way
did
different
other
things.
stuff in our early 20s
Yeah.
and like late teens. But it's
and
cool.
enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah,
It's just that,
yeah. So it's like
so these kids starting at like 5. I'm like, well,
yeah. I'm like,
what are you
okay,
gonna do?
I started at 25 or 24, so it's like
20, 29.
you know what I mean? Like
yeah, just like late
Yeah.
late in the game.
yeah,
But
this is I'm gonna do the best I can at that
Yeah,
age. You
yeah.
know, so
yeah, because the thing is that like the thing I like about you is like having that mentality of like started late, but you don't let that take anything away from it. Like, because the thing is, like, and I talked about this before, is like the worst thing you can be is a victim of your own circumstances, right? In life, in anything, a sport, whatever, at your job. It's like, don't be a victim of your circumstances. Like, acknowledge the circumstances that you're dealing with and either like rise to the occasion, right? I was like, you're not going to change them. We can't change that we didn't start weightlifting 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But we can change how we work out in this, like today or this next week, this next block. If we want to do it, just do it, right?
And you'll be surprised like how much better you can get later into your life, career, weightlifting, whatever it is, when you start to like ignore the distractions. You know, like
Streamline.
if you like, I feel stupid and old where I can't even like play basketball or do the simple things, but you sacrifice those things in order to be good at one.
Yeah.
You have to. That's your priorities. Like if you don't want to, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna go out. I'm not drinking. I'm cutting weight. I'm eating healthy. Those are your choice, and that's why you could do those things. Versus like if you still don't really, you're kind of just all over the place, and that's the result you're gonna get is a soup sandwich. You know?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A soup sandwich. I mean, yeah, that's a good visual. Like,
That's a military term.
Yeah.
Someone who's sloppy.
Yeah, a soup sandwich.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah. So moving on, we're gonna go to our quick fire round. So I hope you're ready.
Hope so.
So I said, take a deep breath. You're gonna have fun. It's gonna be great. So, snatch or clean and jerk?
Definitely clean and jerk.
Okay.
Do I ramble or just hit it off?
Huh?
Do I just say one reply or do I talk about
You
it?
can talk about it if you want a little bit. Yeah.
Clean-
The questions are gonna come quick.
Okay.
But you're gonna answer however you like.
All right, yeah. Clean and jerk because I feel like you could control it. You have more control over your clean and jerks, I feel like,
Yeah. Okay.
versus snatches.
Favorite lifting cue?
Just get it done. Just get the job done. I remember I had this like motto in this one of my best training arcs was get the job done. So I didn't care about technique, whatever this. Yes, you gotta, care enough, but it was more just like stop nitpicking, get the job done.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Favorite training song?
Probably like Wheezy by Playboy Cardi.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that song.
Okay. Okay. One military habit everyone should adopt.
Show up on time. No, it's serious because like, okay, if you're showing up, everything's just gonna, if you're late, then everything just trickles down from there. Your session, your meet. The times that I've done poorly is when I try to wait to the last minute to put my singlet on, last minute to stretch. Next thing you know, you gotta put tape on your shoes and you're warming up. So just be ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hardest part of discipline?
Showing up.
Yeah.
Yep, just showing up.
Just showing up.
You have to, even if you hate it. Doing something that you hate and acting like you love it.
Yeah.
David Goggins.
One word that defines you.
Hard.
Like right now or
I'm always hard. You gotta stay hard.
Stay hard. Damn. All right, that's pretty good. I can't think of it any way. Like, yeah, that's for sure what I was thinking too. So I guess just out to our listeners, is there any like just overall arcing advice that you give them if they're trying to juggle multiple things going on in their lives, like different disciplines, like the way you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you gotta prioritize what you want and like figure out what's more important in your mind and in order to succeed in what you want to do. But also like, again, it sounds hypocritical that I'm doing this podcast and I'm yapping, but to just get off like some of those things of comparison, looking at other people, just like that brain rot stuff, like reel it back a bit.
Yeah, reel it in a little bit on the brain rot.
Yeah, reel it in and I can't even be serious. No, the biggest advice is just get rid of distractions. Yes. Yeah. You got to like eliminate things. You got to eliminate bad friends, bad influences, anything that's going to distract you from what you want to succeed. Get rid of it. 2026. We're moving on.
Yeah. Get rid of it. I said, focus in. Like I said, figure out what you want to do and make it happen. I downloaded an app that cuts down on my social media
Nice.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And it has been a game changer for me, to say the least. And so I recommend, like, no matter what age you are out there, if listening to this, if this gets clipped and it's coming out in a clip, like, get
Hard.
get hard. Get hard, and then like I said, get off social media and go exist. Like go figure
Yeah.
out what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, even if it is social media, I think, and this is the thing, my mantra for like 2026 has been consume less, create more.
Yeah.
Consume less,
I like that.
create more.
I like
said
that. I like that.
we are hyper consuming everything else that's going on around us, and it's taking so much of the dopamine out, like, and just putting it, well, it's putting so much in our brain we don't seek it out, and that's why like people don't want to create anything anymore. But the thing is like if you take a second, you're like, I'm gonna stop consuming everything that everything's throwing at me all at once, and I'm gonna go create stuff. And if people engage in it or they don't, you still created it, man. Like you still took time out of your day. You're engaging in a skill. You're engaging in something. So go out there and just remember to consume. Wait. What did I even say now? Now I'm forgetting.
Consume less, create more.
Consume less, create more. Yeah, like exactly. Tagline. And so,
just be in the moment. That's really what it is. You can still have these things, and like social media and technology and whatnot is good, and it connects people. This is why we made this happen, and we all became friends and whatnot.
yep.
But it's just the balance between like, okay, this is enough. Like putting your phone down and eat and actually having a conversation with your girl.
Yeah.
And like at night, maybe go watch a show, but like maybe not be on your phone while you're watching that show.
Yeah.
Just the simple things, so just existing more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll go a long way, I feel like.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's a difference between like living and existing, right? Stop just simply existing and start living a bit more. That's how I like to look at it. So, but in any case, I think that's more or less a wrap for us here. But to finish, let the people know, Cory, where can they find you? Where can they engage in your story? Like I said, I know we're saying stay off social media, but at least go check Cory out and then go from there and follow along. So let the people know.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel that I haven't updated in a very long time, but if you wanted to see more vlog style of weightlifting, and it's probably a few years old, just search UG Weightlifting. It's YUJI Weightlifting. And then my main social is Instagram. It's Cory UG, so it's CORY.YUJI.
There we go. So from us, thanks for guys for coming in today and listening in. And I think we're out.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Cory.